Welcome back to the Ready Room Podcast. I am Josh.
I am Caroline.
And we are your hosts. Today we talk about the body armor conversation, which can be really fun, but also really complicated. Yeah. So, Caroline, what do you know about body armor?
Next to nothing.
Next to nothing. That's it.
That's it.
Have you learned anything while we've had some armor in the house?
A little bit, but
What would that be?
The difference between ceramic and steel plates.
Am I asking the really tough questions already?
You are.
We just started. Well, welcome to the podcast, guys. Like I said, I'm Josh, the gunsmith, the gunsmith shop owner, and this is Caroline, who is a relatively new, we're going to say relatively beginner status, because she's not exactly new to guns, but she has that more beginner level, or I'd say novice.
I'm here to ask the dumb questions.
I'm not going to say beginner. I think novice is more fair, right?
Yeah.
Novice, yeah. So if you're watching on YouTube, on the live stream, or on the VOD, please like and subscribe if you don't mind. It really helps us out. We're really trying to breach the market and get into some new viewers. Commenting is really good as well.
Mm-hmm.
It helps the engagement numbers. And we're still looking for good ideas for extra podcast episodes. And if you put it in the comments or if you email it to us, which we'll provide later, if we like the episode idea, we'll credit you in the episode.
Yeah.
Make sure you get all the, the praises that you deserve.
Brownie points.
Brownie points. If you're listening on the podcast sites such as Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts,
Amazon?
there it is. I knew I was forgetting one. Amazon Podcast. First of all, come over to YouTube if you don't mind, just to give us a subscription and maybe some interaction. We do appreciate you listening on the podcast websites. If the podcast site specifically allows you to leave reviews, please do. It would greatly help us out. You can find us on Instagram at TBR Gunworks, Facebook at TBR Gunworks. Am I forgetting another? I don't really like social media, so.
I think that's all. That's the only social medias that.
Social medias.
We're also just on the interwebs.
We are on the internet. TBRgunworks.com is the website. And I still haven't got the podcast linked to that, but I'm trying to figure out how I want to do that. I wouldn't mind actually having videos, but I don't know if that gets more expensive, and I'm very dumb at technology, at electronic technology. I'm going to specify better than I did last time, because firearms are technology, but they're mechanical, not nerd stuff. Different nerd stuff. And nothing against nerds. I just suck at electronics. Like I built a PC, and that was the biggest and most.
You didn't really do that by yourself either.
No, neither time. Both times I built PC was with help. So I'm just saying I'm bad at it. Kudos to you if you're good at it. So the first thing I want to talk about before we actually get into the different types of body armor, the different rating systems that come with them, the different applications, I want to bring up just a couple basic ideas of where you may, or mostly may, we're not talking about may not, need body armor. So Caroline, can you think of one instance where you might, and this is off the top of your head, not from the script, can you think of any applications in modern society, modern life, where body armor might come in handy as a civilian?
As a civilian?
Yes, specifically as a civilian.
I mean, when you're robbing a bank, obviously.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, now I have to move. Thank you for that. We do not condone crime on this podcast.
Crimes.
My wife is she's been let too far off the leash, obviously.
Oh yeah, that's for
sure.
sure.
Have to reel that one back in.
For sure.
I'll answer that question then, since you decided to just go off the wall. One good instance that people have been thinking a lot about as of late has been body armor slots for children's backpacks, because
I forgot those existed.
You can get it for adults' backpacks too,
yeah.
But this is one thing a lot of parents have considered with what they feel is a growing threat, which would be school shootings, which is obviously every single time it's a horrific tragedy. And some parents believe that this could just help their child out a little bit, give them a better chance if this horrible situation were to happen. I have not seen any instances of it actually being used in a life or death situation, but it's one of those, peace of mind things, It's just one more thing to help.
Yeah.
Another opposite end of the spectrum scenario would be, and I'm gonna preface this with, we are not preppers per se. Per se. We're not crazy.
I mean, that's debatable.
Okay. I'm not crazy. Women are all crazy though. So I mean,
That's
that's
true.
just
We're all insane.
we're all insane. No, yes. I'm not a woman. I have come out of the closet apparently. I want to say we're not preppers. We're not, thinking the apocalypse is nigh. But there is the potential in the future for what people can call WROL, which is without rule of law scenarios, where maybe it's just for a month or two. Let's say your police in your area just are not at work or not applicable, or they can't help anyone for a month. That's a pretty real scenario. Criminals love to do criminal things, especially when there's no one to stop them. And there's
crime.
They do love to crime. There's much less threat though if there's no one there to arrest. They don't really prevent crime, but they arrest.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a without rule of law scenario where you're not really being protected by the normal. What am I looking for? What's the word here I'm looking for? The normal protections of modern day society.
Law enforcement?
I mean, yes. Yes.
I mean,
that would be the law and without rule of
Yeah.
law. But I mean, there's just
no regulation.
There's just this complacency we're in where we have this relatively safe society, especially looking at the history of the world. We're in a very relatively peaceful society.
Yeah.
And some people worry that could disappear, even if it's just for a short period of time, maybe not apocalypse level. Maybe it's just like a county, not even the entire, you never know. And so body armor comes into the thought process there as well. There are many other scenarios, but I don't want to go too deep into those because you start going into just these hundreds of what if questions, and 9/10 of them will never be applicable, which is a good thing. You'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Exactly.
So I'm glad most of these situations won't come to pass, but that's not the point of the conversation. So one thing I want to get out of the way right quick before we go into the next section, which is what constitutes the different rating systems or the different ratings, is there's one thing to know about body armor, and that's speed beats body armor or armor of any kind, even if it's a tank, it doesn't matter.
So stealth build beats tank.
Stealth build does beat tank. If you're playing Skyrim, you know what she's talking about.
Yeah, because I always play stealth.
Every time you load up a new character to try to play something else, you're
I end up
just
playing
resort
stealth.
back to stealth.
It's a problem.
When you notice this as you look at development of not only just body armor, but also the easiest thing is tanks. As the countries would develop new penetrating shells to defeat other tanks' armor, the other country or the enemy would upgrade their armor. And then it's just a repeating cycle. You upgrade the armor, and they have to upgrade and develop a new round to penetrate with higher velocity, and then they upgrade the armor, and vice versa. It's a never-ending thing. The same thing applies to body armor. Excuse me. The higher the velocity, the higher chance you have of getting through said armor. So, Caroline, what do we have here in this plate carrier? For those of you not watching,
steel, right?
it's steel, yes.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to that. I just figured
You've had that for so long.
I would point that. Yeah, I would want to go ahead and point out that if you're watching on YouTube, we have a little show and tell here of a plate carrier with some armor plates inside, and we'll talk about those when we get to that section. But this is not the end all be all. This is just an example of something you could have. So, actually, real quick, I want to go into negative stereotypes. I want to cover some more things before we get to ratings that I was going to bring up and then forgot to. There are tons of negative stereotypes around people who have armor.
Yeah.
Right? Or the idea of why do you need body armor? And it's one of those things like, why do you need insurance for your car?
Yeah.
If you're a good
Why
driver,
not?
if you're a good driver, you should never get into a wreck, and so you shouldn't need armor.
If you're a healthy person, why do you need health insurance?
That's a good point too.
Like, I mean, you could ask that about literally anything.
Anything. Yeah, it applies to anything. And it's one of those things where it's just people wanting to ridicule or look down on someone for what they deem to be the best idea for themselves.
Yeah.
And we live in America where, freedom and liberty are supposed to be very key to everyday life. And I think if someone wants to go buy some body armor for themselves, as let's just say an insurance policy, there's literally no reason to tell them no.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why it's an issue, whether you agree with it or not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think we're going to have an apocalypse anytime soon. I still have it. Like, I know a lot of people who will talk about the specific plates they buy. Like, well, you bought this plate instead of this plate. And it's like, well, man, not everyone can afford $1,800 in body armor.
Yeah.
It's not, I can't. I mean, that's 100% true. I cannot afford an $1,800 setup. Maybe in the future I can, but for now, I mean, so before we get into all these things that are ratings and the types of plates or pads, just know that you know what's best for you better than I do. I don't know you. I don't know the life you live. I don't know your budget. I don't know, what's legal in your area. I don't know any of that, although this should all be legal. Just saying, my stance on it is it should all be legal in every state, but that's not how the world works. I don't get to declare things, unfortunately. Declare bankruptcy.
You can just say you're bankrupt.
I didn't. I declared it. Do what's going to be best for your life and your situation. If you want to get an insurance policy, get it. I mean, don't let other people beat you down. Seek information. Seek people more knowledge within yourself, just like I do. Inform yourself to the best of your abilities before you just listen to someone who speaks from this position of authority because they sound very confident and bold. Don't just always listen to the loudest person in the room. All right, now we're going to get into ratings. Caroline, can you read the number, just the pretext of number 1?
NIJ.
Nope, the next one down. Sorry. Well, okay, yeah, that's fine. No, that's fine. No, what you did is fine.
That's what you told me to do.
I know. Okay, NIJ ratings are the standard. It's the standard rating system for body armor and threat protection. So what it is capable of stopping. What is that armor capable of stopping on a standardized level? And it's kind of difficult to go into that. Like, is the rating system good or not? Because there's so many variables in this stuff that it gets muddled down really, really easily the more you look into it. And then how big is your testing supply, all that stuff, how, or what do you call it when you're running an experiment? It's your, not your supply, but like you have a control of, control all your I'll just say groups. How big is your testing group? Are you getting an average? Are you just, it's just kind of hard to tell. It gets muddled down. But the NIJ rating is what most companies use to advertise what their armor is capable of stopping. And the first one we're going to go from the least protective to the most. And level 2A is, from what I can tell, the lowest level. I didn't find a level 1. But I didn't look too hard because I really don't want to talk to you. If there's anything below level 2A, I don't think it should be in the conversation about body armor because it would be like a textbook.
Yeah. Just put some magazines.
Yeah, just put some. If you want level 1 armor, just go grab some like bathroom magazines. Yeah, exactly. So level 2A is rated to the most common 9mm and 40 Smith & Wesson loads. Like your average soft point loads. And this is a soft armor, and it seems to be the lightest weight you can get. When you're dealing with soft armor, they're very flexible 9 times out of 10. There's some situations where the soft armor is kind of like it's got like a fake rigidity to it on the inside. But it's very lightweight. It's easiest to conceal. Like a lot of people, I actually know of people who, reporters, actually. I know some reporters who will go behind riot lines and stuff. They will actually slip soft armor underneath like a t-shirt. And this is a very, very comfortable system compared to the stuff we'll talk about later, which gets heavier, it gets bulkier, harder to conceal. So if you don't want to draw attention to yourself, the level 2A, and I think all the way up to level 3A, really, and we'll talk about, like I said, we'll get there. But I think there's about 2 or 3 protection levels that will be relatively concealable and flexible, so pretty comfortable. If you can wear it underneath the t-shirt, it's got to be comfortable. I mean, I guess I could force that underneath the t-shirt, but I doubt it would be comfortable. What do you think?
Definitely see it.
Well, I didn't say it'd be concealable. You think I could put it underneath the t-shirt?
I mean, you could.
Yeah, we could do that. Okay, so this is where it gets kind of weird. Like level 2A was the lowest. Well, the second one, going one bump up in protection level, is level 2 as opposed to 2A. Mm-hmm. I didn't really care to look up why the A is there. It's not really important. What's important is in both situations that it's used that I found, A is like slightly worse than that level without the A. Mm-hmm. So don't get too caught up in that. It's not that important. So level 2 is a higher rating than level 2A. And it's rated up to the most common 357 Magnum soft points. And we talk about soft points. If you don't know, if you're new to, handgun cartridges or just cartridges in general, soft points are, and it means the tip of it is usually just lead, as opposed to a full metal copper jacket that goes around the entire projectile. These soft points tend to dump energy really quickly and expand. Mm-hmm. A lot of times they're used for hunting or self-defense. It's not the only type of hunting or self-defense ammo, but it's just a generic term for anything that's got a jacket on the outside and then the top of it's just kind of soft, which is normally lead. Other terms are like the semi-jacketed soft points or just soft points. And if any of you have ever shot 357, you know that it's pretty stout handgun. Most often found in revolvers. There are some speed ratings. Like if you push that 357 soft point fast enough, it'll go through.
Yeah.
So there are some specific ratings, but it's kind of like if I tell you the feet per second of a 357 soft point to the level 2 armor, you're gonna forget almost instantly. I would forget almost instantly.
I would definitely forget instantly.
I mean, there's only one cartridge that I've ever maintained the average velocity for, and that was just because the Army made me. So level 2 is also soft armor. And a lot of these soft armors, not all, once again, I'm not going to just stamp a thing on it. Most soft armors are like Kevlar. Mm-hmm. And there are other companies' patented versions of woven fibers that...
Because Kevlar is just a brand, right? Or is it a material?
Kevlar is a material.
Okay.
Yes, Kevlar is a material. I had to stop and think because I was wondering who the first ones to make Kevlar were. Kevlar is a material, not a brand.
Okay.
I really hope, I'm going to fact check that myself right now. Because I am not the most confident, because there's all kinds of things that you think are, what do you call it? Like a product versus a company name.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh no, that's just such a common term for
Kleenex
it. Kleenex, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really...
Because I know, there's some on... Kleenex is a brand.
Yes, but what's the product?
It's facial tissue.
Facial tissue,
yeah.
Right? Or
just tissue, really.
I guess it should be tissue, yeah. What were you gonna say though?
But I know there's they make shoes. I mean, I know Adidas does, but they'll make shoes that have Kevlar in them. Mm-hmm. But whenever it's labeled, it's always a capital K.
Yeah.
It's a brand.
No, okay. I fact checked it. It is a product, not a company. Just wanted to make sure. So it's a synthetic material. It's like a hard woven fiber, and there are many others just like it or very similar to it, mm-hmm. that are used in the same application process. They're meant to dissipate energy and trap a projectile, and they're also meant to reduce blunt force trauma. It's kind of a mixture of all these things, and you'll see in this rating system that the soft armor is almost never rated for anything higher than a handgun, mm-hmm. and not even all handguns. What you'll see out of both level 2A and level 2 is a 44 Magnum. Full metal jacket will go straight through it. It's very fast. Mm-hmm. I told you earlier, speed beats armor. But as we start to go up in these rating systems, you'll see that a lot of this ammo that's being stopped by it is getting a little faster and a little faster. So level 3A is is, once again, it's going to be lower rating than level 3. It is designed to stop 357 SIG, which we talked about on our very first episode.
That we did.
Underrated or underappreciated cartridges. Or was it underrated?
It was underrated.
Underrated cartridges. I have a memory that works sometimes. Make sure you go check that episode out if you haven't already. 357 SIG is an awesome cartridge. Very underappreciated, very underrated. Level 3A is designed to stop a 357 SIG flat-nosed Full Metal Jacket. And I am going to mention feet per second here because you get kind of really close to some other cartridges here. And that 357 SIG flat-nosed around 1,470 feet per second. That's what it's designed to stop. And there are others, like different brands, manufacturers, projectiles will go different speeds. And here we see it also is rated to stop 44 Magnum semi-jacketed hollow points around 1,430 feet per second. Now, if we saw some Full Metal Jackets that were faster than that, most likely it's going to go through. Same cart or caliber, 44 Magnum, but that's a hollow point.
Right.
And they're not meant to penetrate as much, and they tend to also go slower than equivalent weighted Full Metal Jackets because of aerodynamics.
Yeah, but say they're not quite as aerodynamic.
They're just open at the front.
clunky.
Yeah, they're very clunky. So you're going to see that they in these areas they're specifying the speed because they can't just say it stops at 44 Magnum because there's so many potential cartridges or projectiles you could fire out of a 44 Magnum, as well as you could get a 44 Magnum lever action with a longer barrel. It's going to push that thing a little faster. You can get some really heavyweight bullets, push the speed, and punch straight through it. So the NIJ rating system is specifying the speed along with the cartridges that it's meant to stop.
Is that the only rating system?
Yes and no. It's not the only rating system. However, it is the standard.
Okay.
And we are going to talk about that here in a minute as to why that can tend to be a problem, but also why it's not a problem. There are some pros and cons to using or not using this rating system.
I mean, it's always good to have a standard. That way everybody
Exactly.
can use the same one. And
if anything, it gives you something to refer to outside of maybe a certain company you're buying from.
Right, exactly,
Right? Yeah. I'm going to go back a little bit. Level 3A is still mostly soft armor. There are some hard plates that are, and when I say hard plates, I mean they're rigid as opposed to very, very flexible. There are some hard plates at level 3A. They tend to be like a hybrid system, but most level 3A is soft. You start to see, at level 3A, I started seeing a lot more combination systems where there was either a soft plate and then a trauma pad, or a soft pad and then a trauma pad behind it.
So just thicker?
Well, the trauma pad specifically is this thing you see that's usually paired up with plates, and it's strictly just to help reduce the blunt force trauma behind the plate. So if you
So it's like in between the plate and you.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Because even if your plate stops the threat, which is the projectile coming at you at high speed, the energy still has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's going to go into your chest. And it doesn't feel good.
No.
I mean, a lot of times, even in the military where you see guys wearing pretty high-speed rigs, they get hit in the chest and it stops the threat. They still have broken ribs. I mean, this stuff, it's moving so fast that it's got to put the energy somewhere. So these trauma pads are there to help reduce and dissipate that energy before it comes into your body to help reduce that trauma, hence trauma pad.
Yeah.
So level 3A, you see the combination. You see some hard, some soft, mostly soft. And you're seeing around 44 Magnum semi-jacketed hollow point, 1,400-ish. I don't want to oversell it there. 1,400-ish feet per second. And then we go to level 3. Level 3 is the beginning of the really common hard plates. Level 3 is classified as being able to stop most 308 or 7.62 by 5.1 NATO, which is just the NATO equivalent of 308, basically. I say basically because there are pressure differences, but 7.62 by 5.1 is the NATO metrics measurement of a 308 cartridge. It's designed to stop most 308 or 7.62 by 5.1 Full Metal Jacket ammunition types, and multiple hits, actually. I think it's like up to 6, supposedly.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's
saying
like ideal situation.
yeah, I'm saying and they're very. It even specifies spaced out hits.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say supposedly because a lot of level 3 plates are ceramic, and a lot of the early ceramics have a tendency to not at all take more than one hit.
Yeah.
And
You just kind of shatter.
yeah, and we're gonna talk about that when we get into the types of plates here in a little bit. But it's
They are lighter.
much lighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But save that for the next section, girl.
Sorry.
She's reading down like, ooh, I know some
haven't
things.
read. I just know that ceramic is lighter than steel.
It sure is by a large margin.
That's just common sense.
So there is this thing called level 3 plus, and this is still tied to level 3, by the way, guys. Level 3 plus is not an official NIJ rating.
Plus ultra.
Hmm?
Plus ultra.
Plus, I'm not gonna do that. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that here. No, ma'am. Level 3 plus is designed to stop slightly higher threats like 855 ball, which is the military NATO 62 grain, which is the weight of the projectile, 556 bullets. So almost everything we used, almost everything I shot in the Army, whether it was between our SAW or our M4 carbine, almost always we were shooting 855 ball, which is a pretty quick 556 projectile that has a steel penetrator tip. So when you're increasing speed, it also helps to increase the strength of the projectile you're trying to force through something. And 855 has a steel penetrator tip. It's not exactly armor piercing, and that's a complicated answer or question as well. Like, is it or is it not? I don't want to get into that because there's a lot of politics involved in that, and that's stupid. It's a stupid conversation. It's not armor piercing, okay? If it's armor piercing, so is literally every other non-22 long rifle, full metal jacket rifle cartridge, basically. I mean, not exactly, but
Wait,
basically.
is armor piercing not just made to
Yes,
go
armor piercing is
through-
designed to go through armor.
specifically
Yes.
to go through armor? Yeah.
Most level 3 plates, without being level 3 plus, quote unquote, can stop 855. So, yes, it has a steel penetrator tip, but it's really only meant for going through soft armor. Almost no hard plates are unable to stop 855. So back to level 3 plus, designed to stop slightly higher threats, and a slightly higher threat really means slightly higher velocities. 855 ball being an example of that. But technically, there's no level 3 plus NIJ rating. It's more of an advertiser thing. Mm-hmm. Like a company wants to rate that their level 3 plate is slightly better than another company's level 3 plate, which it very well may be. Not saying they're lying.
Yeah.
Maybe they've worked this proprietary system in, and it does stop slightly better.
Like it's kind of in between 3 and 3A?
Or no, sorry, 3 and 4. Remember, 3A is worse.
Oh, yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so it's in between 3 and 4.
It's more like in between 3 and 4,
yeah.
where it's a little better than the bare bones standard of 3, but it's not quite up to level 4. That's where you see level 3 plus being advertised. And once again, it doesn't mean they're lying, which they also could be, but it doesn't mean they are. It just means that they're trying to advertise that it's better than a basic level 3. It's not the bare minimum of level 3. It's a little higher up on the threshold. And this is, like I said, this is where you start seeing all different kinds of different types of hard plates and hard plate materials. Mm-hmm. But I kind of want to save that for after the rating section. Level 4 is the last rating that it's currently the highest rated armor plates that I can find. I don't know if there's like civilian available armor plates that are higher than level 4.
Right.
I'm sure there are. I'm sure somewhere some dude has made something that will stop a 50 that will fit in a plate carrier, but I doubt it's on the market. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's rated to stop only one 30-06 armor piercing round. And for those of you who don't know, a lot of you know 30-06 as being a very, very popular hunting cartridge. And it is very popular. It's been around since 1906. However, it is about, the case length itself is more than 10 millimeters longer, which means that's more powder, pushing that 30 caliber projectile, same as a 308, 7.62,
stronger,
faster. And what would we say? Speed beats armor, right? So an armor piercing projectile moving really fast is tough to stop. And level 4 is only rated to take 1. Unlike level 3, which was rated to take, I think it was between 5 and 6 of this other full metal jacket, this is rated for 1. That's scary. But, I mean, that is a fast, it's spanking fast. 30-06 is a stout round. It always has been. And with modern ammunition development only going forward,
Yeah.
it's more and more dangerous. It's so, like I said, not rated for multiple hits from that cartridge.
Right.
But I have seen so many reviews and armor testing videos of people dumping 30 rounds of 5.56, 8.55 ball, which we talked about earlier in level 3, into a level 4 plate and just eating all of it. Just all of it. Now, it depends on what it is.
Yeah.
Like the plate material, you know?
Yeah.
Different companies use different methods and materials. So, like, if you really want to know what it's like capable of stopping, you can do one of two things. You can test it. You can spend a lot of money on level 4 plates and line them up and just do like a testing thing. Just go through all different calibers and just unload on those things. That's expensive. Not
Very
only
expensive.
the plates, but the ammo.
Right.
Right now, especially. I don't know how Demolition Ranch does what he does right now. He's still shooting. And I'm just like, man.
Hey, I'm sure he's got a stockpile. Probably a guy.
I bet he knows a bunch of dudes in
Yeah.
the ammunition industry.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, go on and give me a pallet. I'm doing a video this week and give
But
me a
he can
pallet.
afford it, so
Yeah,
it's fine.
of course. So, and then the last thing I want to talk about with the ratings was trauma pads, but we already talked about it. Usually used in combination with a hard plate to reduce blunt force trauma, which is a good thing. All right. So now we move down to the types of armor plates. We have the rating system. Now we have the different types of armor plates. Actually, no, I do want to back up one more. I had mentioned earlier that the NIJ rating system was not the only and the one all be all. The reason I say that is because I don't know of what other rating systems are out there. I've only heard of NIJ, but I have seen multiple companies who refuse to pay the money to have their armor tested
Yeah.
and rated to that, because it's really expensive to get them to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're putting their stamp of approval for this rating system on there, and they also, NIJ ratings also have to give an expiration date.
Yeah.
Which is really stupid for, like, let's say steel plates. That steel, in 100 years, if it's not sitting in a puddle of water, will still be rated to stop what it can stop. Okay?
I mean, it's a liability thing, really.
It's all it is. That's all it is. So some companies don't have it rated. They will say it is equivalent to, and they'll put it on their website, equivalent to, let's just say, level 3.
Yeah.
Once again, this does not mean they're lying. It just means they don't. It could only mean that they don't want to pay for the rating.
Yeah.
They just don't want to do it. And I don't blame them, because if you look at other industries the government loves to regulate, and I'm going to use the vaping industry as an example, because I've seen a lot of issues out of the government dealing with the vaping industry. Whether you agree with vaping or not, that's not the issue. The issue is the government getting their greedy little hands and everything. They're making people pay millions of dollars to get a juice approved, when the only difference between a different juice is the flavor. Every other ingredient is the exact same. They use one different flavoring, and that's like $1 million to get it approved. That's what the government does. So a lot of companies just don't want to pay all this money for a product they know is rated for X. Right? So if you're looking at an armor plate that's not NIJ rated, but it does say it has an NIJ equivalent, then do your research on that company. Find testing. People love testing armor. It's all over YouTube. Lots of armor tests, them shooting it with all kinds of stuff it's not even rated for.
I mean, the companies, as long as they're not lying, appreciate it, because it's just free marketing, basically.
Yeah, it's really free marketing.
Like, it's free testing on their products that people can go watch instead of just looking for the rating.
And that's basically ratings that you don't have to pay for.
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, it's not NIJ rated, but there's some dude on YouTube that just pumped it full of 5 308 cartridges and it stopped all 5.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I understand.
Honestly, that's probably better than just seeing the NIJ rating. Like, you're like, oh, I just watched this guy.
Yeah. And like one good example is Mr. Guns and Gear. He tests armor all the time from companies I've never heard of. And first of all, it's always a lot of fun to watch. You know what I mean? If you haven't watched Mr. Guns and Gear, I've only spoken to him once before, and this is not on a content creator way. It was when I was going to school for gunsmithing, and I was interested in talking to him about doing a video at the school, because no one really knew the school existed, but it was one of the top 3 gunsmithing schools in the country. Yeah. So this is pre-COVID and all that fun stuff. But
do you want to plug your school?
No, I don't. Until one of them wants to be on the podcast, they don't get a plug. But yeah, I think just do your research. You know, some companies lie. Lots of wish I mean,
Don't
and
get me
Demo
started
Ranch has
on
done so many
Wish.
Wish body armor things, and it's
Ugh,
hilarious.
Which is awful.
But like reputable, real American companies, if they say it's equivalent, research it first, and if you feel comfortable that it is equivalent, go ahead and buy it. I mean, don't take the NIJ rating as the only way to get armor. I don't blame people for not wanting to give the government or agencies or whatever it may be more money. I don't blame them. So now we'll go ahead and get into the types of. That's why I said it was kind of complicated because yes, there's X, but there's also not wanting to deal with X. You know.
Yeah.
So now we'll talk about the types of armor plates. The first being the soft armor, the Kevlar, and the I think was it Cordura? There's a couple other types of the tough woven synthetic fibers.
I have no idea.
I don't remember the other types. I just know Kevlar because it's what's common tongue for us.
Yeah.
Like we use it in, there's Kevlar in tires. There's Kevlar in all kinds of things. It's what we're used to. But there are other.
Kevlar and shoes.
Yeah, there are other
I bet their
materials.
shoes last forever too.
I don't know.
No.
No, because Kevlar tires don't last forever. It was just a steel replacement. They had steel wires in them. They used it. They were trying to do it for replacing the steel wires.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna wear, but I bet it lasts longer than your basic rubber.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, no, it wasn't the soles. It
What was it?
Just the top of the shoe. Like
Oh
the fabric.
yeah. That's right. I thought you had like interwoven with the sole
No,
to
no,
help
no.
last longer. I got
No,
you.
it was in the fabric, like to keep it from.
I bet it does. It's tough.
Yeah, to keep it from wearing so fast on
Yeah.
like running shoes and workout shoes and stuff like that.
So the soft armor between your level 2A all the way up to your level 3A, mostly soft armor. You see a lot of this with police. They'll wear soft armor when they're not in like a super SWAT scenario.
Yeah.
They're just wearing their normal vest every day. It's most of the time it's one of those three. I don't actually know which one because a lot of it can depend on jurisdiction to jurisdiction what that county or that city wants to use for their guys. A lot of times it's level 3A. In combination with trauma pads. I've seen plenty of like level 3A and level 2 around $100 to $125 a pad, which I think is very affordable. However, it's actually not that much cheaper than a bump up in protection for one option and one type of plate, and I'll get into that here in a second. But it comes down to what do you need. Like if you can afford to pay like $25 more, you can get something slightly higher in protection. But if like concealability is your number one thing and the protection is more of a secondary, like you need some kind of protection to help you, but not being able to conceal that is going to be a life or death thing, then the soft armor makes a lot of sense. They make the plate carriers that are so slim and thin that it really does fit underneath the t-shirt. And if you're wearing like a sweatshirt or a hoodie, man, you would never be able to tell that someone's wearing armor. Then you get into your steel plates, and I'm not getting into these in any real order. It's just that steel plates typically are the cheapest level 3 option. Steel has a lot of not stereotypes. Some of these are truths. It has a lot of cons. There are a lot of downsides to steel plates. Okay. First of all, it's heavy. Steel is heavy, guys. Yeah. I mean, she's tried this plate carrier on a couple times.
It's heavy.
Pre-pregnancy, do you think you could wear it all day? No. It is not comfortable. It's not ideal, right? However, when I first, well, before I get into that story, I'll just go over the basic stuff. Then I'll get into the story. The cons are it's heavy. It can create spalling, which is the fragmentation of a projectile hitting the armor and then shattering because it's hitting steel. If it's just a full metal jacket, which is a copper jacket around a lead core, it's just going to shatter. And what happens when it shatters is it goes in a 360-degree direction away from the impact point. And the worry about that is if it's in a plate carrier like this and you don't have some way of defeating that spalling before it exits the plate carrier, it can go into your legs, it can go into your arms, it can go into your neck. It's this risk of getting fragments of metal everywhere on your body but here's the thing. There are ways to defeat that spalling, and I also rather risk that than a hole in the chest. Like, that's just what it is. If your only option, this is coming from my side too, I didn't have the budget when I bought the armor I bought years ago to buy ceramic. I just didn't have the budget. I mean, it was expensive. I mean, it's come down in the past 5 years already. but it was expensive, and I ordered the steel plates, the shooter's cut, and I saved some money with the military discount because I had just gotten out of the Army. And I was like, well, since I'm saving some money, go ahead and give me the double thickness anti-spalling coating. So a lot of these companies, they coat the steel plate in what looks like rhino liner.
Is it like a rubberized?
It's like a rubberized,
thing?
Texturized.
It's been in that setup for so long, I don't even remember.
Well, not this specific setup, but it's been in a setup. Yeah. It's like a rubberized coating that goes around the steel, and it's meant to catch the spalling.
Mm-hmm.
The negative to this is I watched a lot of, before I bought this plate carrier or these plates, I did a lot of research, and the base thickness, like the basic thickness that came on these plates, seemed to be completely separated after 2 shots. And then the spalling left the coating.
Yeah.
But what I noticed was the people who were actually testing it with the double thickness coating, an extra application of it to help reduce spalling, it was taking almost double that before it would separate. So I decided, since I'm saving X amount of dollars, and that just so happened to be basically the exact cost of upgrading to the double thickness coating, I went ahead and went with it. Mm-hmm. So I have steel plates in there that are level 3 that have the double thickness spalling liner coating, whatever.
Yeah.
And I would honestly rather wear that and risk potential spalling than a hole to the chest. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, like, what are the odds I'm going to get hit 6 times in the same area? You know, like at that point, I deserve something because I'm being dumb. You know what I mean? I don't plan on getting
standing there.
I don't plan on getting shot once, much less 6 times.
Yeah.
So it's not the biggest issue in the world for me. However, when I can afford to upgrade to level 4, I will. And I will tell you what I will get down here in a little bit. But I mean, like, you're looking at 8 to 10 pounds per plate.
Yeah.
So this setup is over 20 pounds. And for anyone who thinks that, oh, it's just 20 pounds, no big deal. You know, I can curl that like all day.
You've got it on your body. And
Exactly.
you're not used to it.
Exactly.
Specifically when you're not used to it.
You're not used to it. And that's not including the ammo.
Yeah.
That's not including the water in your Camelback, which should be, if you're wearing a plate carrier specifically, and you're going to be out for more than 30 minutes, you know, or whatever. Like, if you're going to the shooting range, you put water in it, guys. I mean, why not? Get a Camelback or whatever you want to use to drink water. Your Lickies and Chewies, you know, all those fun stuff. There's weight, and that weight does get tiring, and you have to get used to using it if you're going to use it. You don't want to just grab it when the emergency happens and have no idea how to actually use the gear that you spent money on.
Because, I mean, you know, you keep adding stuff on here, ounces turn into pounds real quick.
Yep, exactly. And this is not a finished setup, by the way, guys. I recently, once again, if you're just listening to the podcast, I will say what I have in front of us, but on the YouTube, they can see it. On the YouTube. This is a Crye Precision JPC 2.0 plate carrier, and it has the level 3 plates inside of it. On the back of it is a zip-on pack. The Crye JPC plate carrier has a really cool setup where it's got vertical zippers on both zipples. It's got vertical zippers on the back panel, and they actually design packs, different types of packs to throw on that you can just zip on. It's a really cool system. I upgraded to this because the plate carrier I had was falling apart.
That was for airsoft too, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think it was.
I don't know where I got it.
I think you had it for airsoft when, like, you were a teenager, and
I honestly have no idea where I got the plate carrier. It wasn't my Army plate carrier because I didn't get to keep that. And we got, I mean, I would say much higher quality, and that's true to an extent in the Army. We had like decent. They weren't like these minimalistic, plate carriers. They were more cumbersome like that. You had the IOTV, which is extremely cumbersome, or the MBA, which is you put it on like a vest, like you put your arm through one side, put your arm through the other side. Then, it's. I don't know where I got it. It's been a long time since I got that old plate carrier, but it was just one of those things, guys, where I was living in an apartment with my wife, and I wanted armor, and I had this plate carrier laying around, so I bought the steel, and I put it in this plate carrier. And I hadn't had, good thing I never had to use it because it was crap. I mean, that's just being honest with you, it was crap. The plate carrier itself. So instead of just upgrading the armor plates, because some of you were asking, well, if you can afford a Crye Precision JPC plate carrier, why can't you afford better plates? Because I needed a good plate carrier.
Yeah.
Like, I needed a proper plate carrier that's not garbage and not falling apart.
It's one thing to like save up for an expensive thing,
Yeah.
and get that, than it is just buying like a whole, like just having that money to buy
Yeah,
it.
exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I actually wore that crappy plate carrier to the range. I used it. I practiced reload drills with them, and I actually used it on a semi-regular basis. I went hiking with it to try to get used to the weight over and over again. And it's just one of those things where, like, I really needed to upgrade the plate carrier. Now I can upgrade to better plates in the future. Like, I have a good system. So I'm still working. This is a recent, it was a recent upgrade. I'm still working on the mag carrier system and how I want to run everything in particular. I have a couple things coming on the way for the cummerbund. I have not figured out how I want to run this one exactly. Okay. It's different than what I trained on back in the Army. So I'm just trying to figure out what do I want to do to really maximize this setup for myself. And I am not the best person for advice on that. You need to go to really professional guys like Garand Thumb, or man, like the Jaeger guy. He got banned from YouTube. I don't know. There's Garand Thumb. There's John Lovell from Warrior Poet Society. Awesome guy. Those are you guys to go really ask about setups. And they're going to tell you the same thing. Whatever works best for you is important, but train. So away from my personal setup, but back to the types of plates.
Mm-hmm.
The steel plates have pros and cons. The pros are they're cheap, guys. I mean, they're the cheapest level 3 you can really get into. And if you're one of those, if you're, like I said, if you're just on a budget, but you need it or you want it, it's an option. Just understand the cons that will come with that. And if those cons are acceptable to you, then they are, like they were for me. I've seen them anywhere from $65 to $200-ish a plate. We're talking about per plate.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't spend $200 a plate unless they have a really crazy, awesome anti-spall coating. That might make sense to you. But once you get into the $200 a plate, you're starting to get into, well, you have other options that don't have those same cons. So now we're going to talk about ceramics. And ceramics get complicated because there's all different kinds of ceramic compounds.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Army, you originally saw the SAPI, S-A-P-I, which stands for Small Arms Protective Inserts. They're like 3 to 5 pounds per plate. It's really not like that'd be comfortable.
Yeah.
I could wear that all day,
Yeah.
and I did, regular basis. And they're made from like a silicone carbide ceramic composite. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know, science jargon, right?
Words.
Just words put together
Yes.
in order mean something,
Right.
right? They're mostly level 3, but then the Army went to the ESAPIs, which is the enhanced SAPIs, same thing. But they're level 4, right? And the ESAPIs are like 27% heavier, which, if we're being honest, going from level 3 to level 4, 27% weight increase isn't that bad. Still lighter than steel and a higher rating. I have yet to see level 4 steel plates. I could be wrong. I really didn't just go, oh, can you get level 4? I didn't Google that. It's not like part of my research for this. I'm sure there's a hybrid system that's level 4, like
Mm-hmm.
probably a steel insert and then something on front and back of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that exists.
Just stack your plates.
Just get a ceramic plate and then a steel plate behind it. That's level 5. Boom, we solved it.
And then
We solved it.
Cover it in soft armor.
Dude.
You got like a
Caroline's-
level 10.
Caroline's on level 10 over here. I mean, think about this. You get a level. I mean, you know how thick of a
You'd
plate
be like
carrier
that
you
kid in Christmas Story.
Just walking around. I am invincible. Bow to me. The biggest issue with ceramics, though, is that, and this I'm going to speak specifically to SAPIs, the original SAPIs. They were not multi-hit rated. I don't care what anybody says. Ooh, someone
That was
smacked her mic.
spicy.
Nice. That's going to be great for the viewer or the listeners on the
Rip headphone users.
headphone user warning. I don't care anyone says, regular SAPIs, not great at multi-hit. Especially when you can drop them from 3 feet onto the floor and they shatter.
Mm.
Yeah. Ceramic.
That's
Yep.
very reassuring.
Very reassuring. I have seen many cases of them stopping a 7.62x39, which is your typical AK-47 specifically, or AKM, it's just a typical AK round. And then it stopped it, but you look at it and it's just like this big, it's like you broke 3 kitchen plates inside of a bag. Obviously they're not that kind of ceramic, but I mean, it's messed up. It doesn't seem usable after that. So I'm not really big on the whole level 3 means multi-hit rated, because Sappies are level 3, and boy, I wouldn't trust them after dropping them onto my kneecap. But E-Sappies supposedly have fixed that. I have seen some video footage of them testing that. Multi-hits, stopping them, dropping them from like 30 feet in the air and them not cracking. So that seems to be a good improvement. Mm-hmm. I can't attest to that. Even though the Army has supposedly been using E-Sappies for years, like a good while, my unit only had Sappies. So, yeah, what do I know? I was in a low budget
unit.
Just
because the Army is using it
exactly.
doesn't mean everybody.
Doesn't mean my really poor unit was using it. We didn't even have optics, guys. I mean, like, we literally just had iron sights. And this isn't I'm not that old. This is not pre-Army going into red dots and Trijicons. No. Almost everyone had Trijicons or aim point PROs,
except for you guys,
which is the M68, except for my unit. Don't worry, though. We had 6 M2 Browning 50 cal machine gun tripods for our 2 50 cals. Don't worry. That's where the money was going. You can get, I've seen level 3 ceramic plates for between 200 and 350 a plate. And this is why I'm saying there has to be a really good reason I'm paying $200 for a steel plate, for one steel plate, when I can get a ceramic for 200. On the low end, it may just be like a Sappi equivalent versus an E-Sappi equivalent. You know, do your research. That is the most important thing. Do your research on what you're getting. Why does it cost less? Like, if it's really, really cheap, there's usually a reason why. Okay. It depends on the company. Like I said, there's different types of ceramic material. There's different cuts. I mean, it might be more expensive, but it's the same material because of the way it's cut different to make it more comfortable when you're shooting. You know, there are shooter's cuts. There's something called a swimmer's cut. I mean, there's all different kinds of things. Level 4 ceramics.
Imagine swimming with
I cannot. Actually, with ceramics, I probably could.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still dealing with like
I probably couldn't.
10 to 15 pounds on you, but that's, boy, I'm telling you, if I went in the water with that thing, I'm drowning, boys. Although it does have a quick detach system, which is pretty neat.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. You pull these straight out. Don't do it right now. It's going to fall over and be a big bang. But if you pull these both straight out, it pulls the cummerbund out, which means you can just take it off overhead. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, Cry Precision is expensive, guys, but they know what they're doing.
Expensive for a reason.
Yeah. So you can get level 4 ceramics for between 200 and 500. And I was really surprised to see the very low end of level 4 ceramics still being around 200. Mm-hmm. But once again, that's with a specific company. Most companies are not that cheap. Okay. I'm not going to shout out a company because I'm not comfortable telling you what company you should go buy armor from to protect your life. That's not on me. That's not on me. I'm just going to give you the information of what makes certain things certain ways. Do with it with what you may. The last category I'm going to talk about armor plates is polyethylene plates. When I first heard this whole poly plate thing, I thought they were talking about like polyurethane. I was like, dude,
I didn't even know these existed.
Right? I'll just go dunk these steel plates in polyurethane and boom, level 4, let's go. But no, it's polyethylene. And polyethylene really seems to be the future of plates, of armor plates. And I'm really hoping in the near future the price on these goes down, just like it does with everything else. You know, 20 years ago, thermal optics for rifles or machine guns or whatever, thermal optics used to be ungodly expensive. Mm-hmm. I mean, just make you want to throw up expensive. And now you can get a really, really good thermal rifle scope that will record everything. And I mean, it's high-end stuff for like $3,000.
Yeah.
And like 20 years ago, we're talking like $30,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's outrageous. So as the future goes on, the technology becomes more affordable.
Yeah.
Right. And
I mean, as it upgrades.
Yeah. And I think the supply gets higher and increases out there.
Yeah.
And that just drives the price down. So I'm really hoping polyethylene becomes more affordable in the near future. But here's some of the pros from polyethylene. It's higher multi-hit rating than almost any ceramic, whether it's Sappi or E-Sappi. Nice yawn over there, Yaya.
I'm struggling.
Guys, this baby's killing her.
It is. I mean, she's just destroying my lungs.
She's like, you don't need these. These
I
are just
can't
two
breathe.
punching bags,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
This is fun to kick.
That's your bladder.
I mean, it's everything.
She kicks everything.
Just everything in my torso.
Oh man. So the polyethylene plates tend to be have a higher multi-hit rating than almost any ceramic. So it's not just like a typical just the rating specific. It's all over the place. They seem to have a really, really good multi-hit rating. They're also extremely lightweight. I found they tend to be the lightest weight plates you can get, lighter than ceramic. Now, some of these polyethylene plates have ceramic in them, like it's like a hybrid, but they seem to be amazing. But the biggest downside for me, and it's really not that big of a downside, but it's like the biggest con for the polyethylene plates is that they are thick. I mean, they are thick.
Really?
Yes. I'm thinking like just from the videos and I've
3
seen
pounds on average, and they're that thick.
Yeah. But see, I think like why are they so light?
Yeah.
They have to. Like these things are really, really good. I don't know how polyethylene works. Like I don't know the science on this, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just reporting to you what the information says. They're extremely lightweight, 3 pounds on average, but they're very thick.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at something that, from everything I can see, where I'm looking at people holding them and testing them, they seem to be like no less than 2 inches thick.
Yeah.
On average. So if you were to get this and try to put it in a plate carrier, I think you're going to run into issues where they may not fit because the slot is too narrow, right? Or it doesn't have enough expansion to accept those really thick plates.
Because, your plates are what?
Dude, they're thin.
3/4 of an inch?
Probably, maybe 3/4 of an inch. Yeah.
I'm just looking at, like, the imprint of
Yeah,
them here
feel
on
it.
the side.
I would say around 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah, I can see where they are.
So it would really, if you're going to get these, make sure you look up if your plate carrier can accept these types of plates. Because it's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going from steel to this, it's a big thickness difference. But man, the 6 pounds total for 2 plates, that is nothing, guys. That is so awesome.
You just gotta have $1,600.
Depends. So you can get plates, polyethylene plates between level 3A all the way up to level 4.
Yeah.
So level 3A, level 3 plus, quote unquote, right? It's not a real rating, but it's in between 3 and 4. And your price range for all these polyethylene plates is anywhere from $350 to $800 a plate. So your maximum protection with trauma pad and all these things can cost you up to $1,600. But this is one of those situations, and it's the same argument people have with guns. Like, what is your life worth?
Yeah.
So it's like, don't get me wrong. I would really, if I had the money to just buy polyethylene level 4 plates, I would right now. They'd be shit, please. Like, no problem. Wouldn't even question it. I can't afford it. So I'm really hoping one day I can. I hope this plate carrier will accept the polyethylene plates. I believe it will. I think the CryoJPC 2.0s are made to fit the polyethylene thick plates. Girl, it's going to fall over. I'm telling you. It's going to be a big slam. And you're going to be like, oops, sorry. I'm going to leave now.
Yeah. Just dip out.
So those are your different types of plates. Those are your price ranges. These are the pros and cons. Like if you're just taking a hiking bag and you want a pad in your bag, the level 3A, level 2, level 2A plates, or I keep saying plates, but they're basically pads. They're soft armor. Those are what you're going to put in your kid's backpack or your hiking bag or your concealed plate carrier underneath the clothing with nothing on it. It's just there for protection, not tacticalness, There's a wide range of application and there's a wide range of uses. There are uses I didn't name here because I don't think about them. There are all different kinds of plate carriers, setups. Caroline was actually interested in getting one before she got pregnant. Then she got pregnant.
Now I can't fit in anything.
She can't fit anything, much less. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. This thing would crush her. Actually, you just sit it. You don't even have to have it tight. Just sit it on top of your belly.
Yeah, just sit.
Yep. The sizes are really interesting for a lot of these plate carriers. If you were to get a plate carrier, I'm not saying armor only goes in plate carriers. I thought with most things I wear, I'm a large or extra large. So I bought the large/extra large JPC, and I am right on the verge of it being too big. Just right on the verge. I probably could get away with a medium, which I believe Cry does a medium. So I'm thinking you're going to be a medium for dang sure. She wanted to get some. So with her, I wouldn't dare get her steel plates. It's too heavy. It's just not reasonable to ask her to lug around 20 pounds plus magazines, plus ammo, plus whatever, in whatever situation this may be. It's just not reasonable. plus weapon, man. If you're actually shooting, plus weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, it is unreasonable. So I would be looking at a minimum of ceramics. And if I was looking at ceramics, I would have to do ESAPPs because she's clumsy and she falls a lot. And if I got her like Sappy level plates, she would just shatter them. First range day, she would put her rifle down because she's a safe shooter.
That's right.
And then she would trip and fall.
Look, I have never, not once, tripped and fell at the range.
There's a lot of negatives there. I don't know what you're trying to tell me. Have you tripped and fell at the range?
I have not.
Okay, that's what you say. Not I have never, not once.
Never, not once.
She's a safe shooter, but I mean, I couldn't get her shatterable plates.
Nah.
It's just you're literally. It'll be the first time you fall at the range.
Yeah.
If I bought you those and went to the range.
Or just in a situation.
Day one.
I'm gonna fall in a situation before I fall at the range.
That's true. She's just
you know
too
what?
clumsy.
I take that back because people don't clean up their brass.
That's true. She would feel like wearing her flats one day, and they're just one 50 cal shell just laying there. I don't know. I used a random girl shoe term. Did I get?
Shoes? I don't have flats.
Well, I tried.
I'm sorry.
I don't know anything about girl shoes, guys. I don't know what a flat is.
I would just, if I'm gonna slip and fall on brass, it would be in my boots that don't have any tread.
Okay, well, let's go with that then.
You have boots that don't have tread.
Yep. And I wear them to the range.
Yeah, and I don't wear my boots that don't have tread to the range because I know I'm gonna slip and fall on
You're
some
a
brass.
smarter person than I, but also clumsier. So, guys, if you are interested in getting armor for whatever reason, I don't care because it's not my business. I don't care do what you want. It's America. If you are planning on doing it, do your research on the plates, and then do your research on a plate carrier. That's like I said, plate carriers are a totally different conversation. Everyone has their favorite flavor, and everyone has their favorite way of setting it up. I will not give you my advice on that because, look, I haven't even finished setting this one up because I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. Okay? So take in all the information you can and go out there and train. Like, training is the most important thing. Go out there if you can afford to and do some actual training. If you can't afford to shoot, do dry fire training. Do reload drills from a plate carrier or a belt setup. We're going to do a belt thing later. Don't ask. We're going to do a belt episode, but I do not have the most experience with belts. The only competitions I've ever been to for pistol, I use my EDC belt because it's extremely rigid. Tuck my shirt in, EDC belt, boom. So I don't have the most experience with like battle belts. I'm working on it. I'm really interested in them. And they have their different applications. But I will bring someone on as a guest that has way more experience with battle belts than I do. That way you're not getting some
not me.
dum-dum. Well, Caroline, go ahead and learn some battle belts real quick.
I have one belt that I own.
It's definitely not a battle belt.
It is not. It's like a 20-year-old leather belt that I'm surprised is still a solid piece of material.
Yeah. So all I got to say before we go, one last time, guys, is do not let some person look down on you because you're buying what you can afford. I'm telling you right now, and this is really speaking to steel because it is heavily looked down on by a portion of the gun community and the training community, including instructors who should be more adult than they are. If you can only afford steel plates, I'm telling you right now, risking spalling going into part of your body is 100% less dangerous, in my opinion, 100% my opinion, than a hole in the chest. It's just is what it is. I mean, I'd rather risk some metal fragments possibly hitting some vital part of my body than getting a sucking chest wound from a 308 or a 45. Yeah, it's just, guys, don't listen to them unless they're giving you good information with a cool head. If they're saying, look, man, I'll give you an extra $50 to upgrade, cool, then they're trying to help you, right? They're not actually yelling at you and screaming at you. But if they're looking down on you because you're stupid, poor pleb for getting steel plates, I don't want to talk to that person. And there's a couple of instructors that are really popular on YouTube that I'm thinking of who I cannot believe they made some of these videos that are just, I mean, you're literally just saying, sucks to be poor.
Yeah.
You're stupid for being poor. Be less poor.
Yeah.
That's HK's job.
Right.
Not the instructor's job. Okay?
Don't be a poor.
The HK is allowed to tell me I'm poor. Not you. Okay? Guys, be safe. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Please comment. Please share with your friends. Yeah. If you're listening, see, I separated the whole watching and listening thing, so I didn't screw it up again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
didn't try to say it
I'm
as
learning.
One whole word.
One long word. I'm learning. If you're listening on the podcast websites, please give us a review where possible. I understand it's not possible everywhere, but we would really, really appreciate it. Amazon, I know for a fact, will let you leave reviews. And you know what's funny is like 60% of our podcast listeners are on Amazon. So if you're listening on Amazon, drop us a review if you don't mind. If you like the content, we'd really, really appreciate it. It would really help boost our outreach. We're going to do some actual videos soon. TM trademarked, because I actually want this YouTube channel to be more than just the podcast. I want the podcast to be constant, but I want to spice in some actual videos to the YouTube channel. So if you are listening versus watching, just go on over and shoot us a subscription on YouTube, just in case.
Hit that bell.
Oh, you can hit the bell, the notification bell. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like the notification bell, but if you like it, because YouTube doesn't like telling you when things go, when videos come out, please hit the notification bell. That also helps the channel. But yeah, if you're listening, just give us a little follow on or subscription. I hate the way they say subscribe instead of follow. Subscribe on YouTube, just in case we put out a video that you like. You know, I have some really cool ideas that I'm really hoping we can do in the next month or two. Would be really nice. I would really like to do at least 2 specific videos in the next month or two. But it all comes down to filming. You know, what can we film it? It's just that's the issue right now. Do you have anything else? Am I missing anything, Caroline?
I don't believe so.
/ Yaya.
I don't believe so.
The Clumsy. That's your medieval name, Yaya the Clumsy.
Yaya the Clumsy.
I like it. I like it. I think you should replace all of your online names with that.
I can't do that. You know I can't do that.
You disappoint me.
Sorry.
It's okay. All right, guys. Thanks for watching / listening. Dang it!
You almost made it.
I almost made it the whole podcast without doing something super dumb.
But you didn't.
Can you just say that part for me?
Thank you for listening, because that's the word.
No. What's the other word that I mess up trying to do both of? Do both
watching?
of them for me. Yeah.
Thank you for watching and listening.
Oh,
Is that what you were looking for?
Now I'm embarrassed. That's what I get for having my wife here.
Yeah.
Just constant judgment from across the table. Well, your belly basically touches the table from a foot away, so
look,
what do I know?
I've got like a solid 4 inches here.
Killing it, Caroline. Proud as ever.
Yeah.
Big belly girl. Well, you just sign us out then, since I'm so terrible at it.
Thank you for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe. Have a great night.
You're awful.
I don't know what all you want me to say.
worst.
Look, you're the host. I'm the co-host. I don't know what you want from
Well,
me.
how about you do something every once in a while? Ooh, shut up. Guys, we really appreciate you. We'll see you next time, 6:30 Sunday nights. And let us know if you have any ideas you want us to talk about. We'd really appreciate extra ideas. You know, I don't love coming up with everything. I'm just kidding. I love making new content. I think that is all.
Yep.
Be safe. Trust the Second Amendment. And get some body.